I was sat at my desk and I heard the soft words of my 10-year-old daughter say, "Mummy, I want to die." Shocked, I turned to Ella and saw sadness and emptiness in her eyes. Then nothing could prepare me for what was about to take place. Ella proceeded to tell me the most horrific story any mother could hardly bear to hear. You see, I'd noticed a dramatic change in my 10-year-old daughter. She normally was a vivacious, bright, social child. And within a matter of short time, there was just dramatic change. She was distant, withdrawn, quiet. I had previously questioned her about what was going on, as she had seemed to lost the light in her eyes. Her sparkle was no longer there. I questioned her and I said, "Is it school?" She said, "No." I said, "Is it sisters?" She's one of 4, so they're always fighting, so I thought perhaps it was that. "No," she replied. I was at a loss to what possibly was going on with her. Then she said, "Mummy, if I tell you, you will hate me." I said, "Ella, there is nothing in this world that you could say or do that would make me hate you." Then the worst nightmare any parent could face began to unfold. Ella then proceeded to tell me the story in graphic detail of what had happened to her. Needless to say, she had been sexually assaulted by an older boy that lived across the road and attended her school. She'd been playing in a local neighbourhood like any normal 10-year-old outside the house. The boy had then taken Ella into his garage and forced her to reenact sexual behaviour that he had been watching on his iPad. Now, if that's not enough, Ella has a twin, her identical sister, Gracie. Now, to have one child sexually assaulted is hard enough. But I then discovered that my second child had fallen prey to the same sexual perversion that Ella had. He again forced her to reenact a sexual activity he had learned from watching porn. There are no words to describe the devastation to know that the purity and innocence of my children had been stolen off them that day. And life for them would never be the same again. Nothing I could say or do could comfort the fact that my children had been horrifically violated. Neither twin knew that it had happened to the other. He had done it on 2 separate occasions, and my girls never spoke about it to each other. Despite the pain and anger over the injustice, I still have to consider the boy who did this to my girls. You see, he too is still an innocent child who is caught up in a world that is not protecting his purity and his innocence. So what action does a mother take when this information comes? I called the school because he is a member of the children's school. And they immediately advised me to proceed with a police investigation, which I did. My girls were incredibly brave. After some discussion as a family, both girls decided they wanted to proceed with the investigation. They did not give their reasons, as they did not have to. However, hearing Ella say to me, "What if this happens to one of the preppies?" I knew that Ella's bravery in coming forward was not seeking justice for herself, but instead an act that would protect others. The investigation proceeded, and the girls gave their statements to the police. As we walked away from the police station that day, I knew that my girls would not be defined by what had happened to them. And I knew that God would strengthen them, and He did. The girls' response was incredible. In the midst of one of the most exposing, vulnerable moments of her life, Ella found goodness in what had been done to her. As she walked away from the police station after giving her statement that day, she turned to me and she said, "Mummy, I feel really good about what I've done." What if it had happened to a younger child, younger than 10? I could have never had a more prouder moment in my life. But just when you think you're through the worst, you are not. There was a backlash I did not see coming. The boy's father was a man in authority and decided to press charges against my 10-year-old girls, saying that they had assaulted his oldest son. The nightmare had worsened. The boy was denying what he had done and claiming to be an innocent victim. Thank God the boy eventually confessed. And as a family, we decided to drop the charges on the condition that records remained on file in case he was to assault again. And that we were there was something in place to protect younger children if needed. Upon further investigation of the boy's lifestyle, he had been watching porn with his 18-year-old sister. He had been watching it on his iPad daily. He had absent, very hard-working parents and very little supervision. I am blessed that my daughters have not been defined by this assault, although many are. Instead of being hidden victims, they were brave enough to come forward and speak the truth. The reason that I am sharing our nightmare with you is to sound an alarm and bring an awareness to the dangers of pornography on our children. Unfortunately, no child is safe as long as there is access to porn on the internet. Thank you.